notifiable. Well, I'd like to say start by saying thank you everyone for joining my Director of Admissions, Paige, and I today. Today we will be hosting a personal statement writing workshop. My name is Aliana Guzman, and I am an Assistant Director of Admissions for the School of Educational Studies at CGU. And here today with me is, again, my Director of Admission, Paige Kowski. Sorry, Paige. But I will let her introduce herself as well.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. I know that Q and maybe Erica have some sign-in stuff for everybody to do. So I don't know, Q or Erica, if you want to, oh, you did drop it into the chat. So perfect. But like Aliana said, my name is Paige Piankowski. My last name is incredibly difficult. So Paige is always perfect. And I am the Director of Admissions at Claremont Graduate University.
Thank you, Paige. So for today's workshop, Paige and I will do introductions of ourselves, but we will be going over the different types of personal statements for graduate school applications, some things to keep in mind before drafting those statements of purpose, tips and advice for drafting as well. I will be going over some examples of statement of purpose that I have personally received from students that I have worked with. And then we will end with a Q&A at the end for those of you that may have some questions at the end. So Paige, I will let you go ahead and introduce yourself first.
Awesome. Thanks, Aliana. So again, my name is Paige. I currently serve as the Director of Admissions at Claremont Graduate University. I am a first-generation college graduate. I have been working in higher ed for 9 years. So I've been with CGU for 6, and then I had another 3 years at another institution. I'm committed to social and racial justice work, and I really think that it's important in higher education to also be doing that work. And so I'm really excited to be partnering with your offices and be speaking with each of you today. I currently hold a master's in organizational leadership, and I am pursuing another master's in education. I was nowhere near ready for a PhD, so I decided to pursue another master's degree and felt like that would pair really well with my master's in organizational leadership. So I will be finished with that in May of this year.
Thank you, Paige. As Paige, I'm also a first-generation college graduate. I'm actually the oldest out of 5 siblings, which for me and my family, that was definitely a big accomplishment. I am a graduate of UC Riverside, and I do have over 6 years of experience working in undergraduate and graduate admissions and recruitment. Prior to CGU, I worked for a different institution for 4 years where I did do recruitment, student services, and retention for both undergraduate and graduate. And then here at CGU, it was just my 2-year anniversary where I've been working with graduate students. So I'm assuming most of you are here today because you are considering applying to graduate school. You're probably looking into different schools, different programs, and you have realized that one of the main application materials, it's a personal statement. So we are here to give you pretty much give you all some advice, some tips for standing out as a graduate program candidate. We understand that applying to graduate school can be a significant step toward reaching your academic and career goals, which can make the admissions process even more intimidating. But we're here to give you some advice and tips to help you along the way. Along with gathering your letters of recommendation, taking exams and submitting transcripts, for the most part, you will find again that you have to write a personal statement to include in your application. The personal statement fulfills a specific and significant purpose in the eyes of the admissions committee. So by learning about the personal statement and its role, getting familiar with the essay's key elements and taking advice from admissions experts, you can ensure that you submit the best statement possible. So the different types of personal statements, The main one that we typically see is the personal statement, which typically involves you talking about yourself. So who you are, what are your values, interests, what has been your path up until this point, and why you're interested in this particular program. Um, to begin, I would also like to say that every application is different. Every personal statement will be a little bit different. So you definitely want to make sure that you are reading the instructions, following directions, connecting with the admissions representative to identify exactly what should be included in your personal statement. But from experience working with my own programs at CGU, I can tell you that one of the main things that faculty look for is they want to know about you. They want to know your life story, pretty much what has brought you up until this point where you're saying, you know, I want to pursue this master's degree, or I want to pursue this PhD program. The personal statement is your opportunity to pretty much talk directly to faculty prior to starting the program, highlighting any significant experience, any significant work experience that you know, will give your application an advantage. In the same manner, we have a statement of purpose or intent. Some of the things that you should definitely focus on covering is, why are you pursuing this particular degree? How is this degree going to help you achieve your specific career and academic goals? What particular resources does that program or particular university offer you that will allow you to achieve those academic goals, career goals, and how do you plan to use them to be successful throughout the program? I would definitely recommend that you research faculty at the institution that you are looking to attend. You know, are there faculty that are doing research in your area of interest? And if so, definitely talk about that faculty in your statement of purpose. You know, how is their research relevant to what you're looking to do? Why you're looking to work with them? That is just showing typically the faculty in the institution that you have done your research, you know, that you have a clear idea of what you're looking to do there, and you have somewhat of a plan to help you through the time there. Some other types of statements may be a research statement, an artist statement. Again, it does differ from program to program, from school to school. So you definitely want to clarify with the admissions representative, with the school, or, you know, just making sure that you go on their website and you understand what type of statement it is that you have to submit for that particular program.
Aliana, can I interject just really quickly?
Yes, go ahead, Paige.
So I think that Aliana truly did hit all of the main points of a statement of purpose or a personal statement. And I think it's important that you recognize that many applications are not going to require a writing sample. And so this is an opportunity for you to submit your writing sample outside of any of that. It's an opportunity for you to showcase to the faculty who you are outside of your transcripts, outside of potentially your GRE scores, if that's what you'll be submitting. So I think spending the most time on your statement of purpose or personal statement is really essential. And it's one of those things that it's going to take a lot of time. Just drop into the chat for me. How many of you absolutely love to talk about yourself and write about yourself? Just give me a yes or no. Never. Okay. So it's really tough to sit, sometimes it's really tough to sit here and say within a couple of pages, here's all of the things that I am, and here's how I'm going to make a significant contribution. So the questions that are posed on the screen here, your statement of purpose or your personal statement, right? It's important to really recognize the main points of really, who are you? Who are you outside of a test score? Who are you outside of the grades that you may have received in undergrad? And really, where is your passion for the work coming from? Why is this the degree that you want to go into? Claremont Graduate University is very unique in our School of Educational Studies, which Aliana works very closely with. They ask like 5 main questions. And in those questions, that's how you write your statement of purpose. You go into that and you write a statement on those 5 questions, and you answer those 5 questions very directly. Go ahead, Aliana.
Paige. So moving on. So things to keep in mind before drafting that personal statement. Again, is there a prompt? This, goes hand in hand with, following directions, reading the instructions. Is there a word count, a page limit? Is there a particular format for this statement of purpose? For example, at CGU, School of Educational Studies, our personal statement must be 5 pages double spaced, answering the questions that Paige just mentioned. So again, typically school specific programs receive, hundreds of applications in a year, which means that there's a lot of competition in terms of being admitted into the program. So you definitely don't want to give faculty a reason to automatically deny you because they do receive hundreds of applications in a year. The time that is spent reading your application as a whole, your statement of purpose, is not very much. So as soon as somebody receives your application, you don't want to give faculty a reason to, say, oh, this person obviously clearly did not read the instructions, follow the directions, put it in the deny pile. So definitely this is something that you should look into ahead of time and keep in mind as you're drafting that statement of purpose. Are they asking for both a personal statement, statement of purpose, or intent, which can be different? As Paige mentioned, what is the purpose of this? What is it that they're looking to, what pieces of information are they looking to get from your personal statement? Again, we go back to, is there a word or page limit? Another important thing is, are you applying via a centralized application or one unique to that program? For CGU and my programs is a unique application to this program, but I do know, for example, our School of Community and Global Health, they use a system called SOFIS, where you can apply to multiple schools with one application. So definitely you want to make sure that how the application is being received and if it's going directly to that program or different schools. So here's some advice as well from me on how to write a winning personal statement. So again, definitely take the time to read the instructions and take some time to self-reflect. The statement of purpose should not be something that is, written in a day or two. It's actually something that should take you a few weeks, maybe a few months, because you definitely want to take the time to give it the appropriate thought. I would encourage you to talk to friends and family. A lot of times they can offer you different pieces of advice. Sometimes, again, like Paige mentioned, it's hard to talk about yourself. So it's hard to talk about maybe your strengths, and you don't want to come off in your personal statement as, you are showing off. But, family and friends are usually people that can tell you, things that you are good at, some of your skills and qualities that you should be highlighting in your personal statement. So I do find that is something that is very beneficial for students and helpful. Be authentic. Again, faculty read hundreds of applications. So, really talk about yourself, what you are passionate about. For example, at CGU, the School of Educational Studies, one of our main missions is social justice through education. So I always encourage students that, if that's something that they are also passionate about and identify with, definitely highlight that in the statement of purpose and talk about why they also believe in that mission, things that they're doing that show that as well. Another thing, get feedback from outside sources. So have that statement of purpose proofread as much as possible. You definitely want to make sure that it's free of any grammatical errors. Again, faculty get hundreds of applications. If they get your statement of purpose and it's full of errors, that might be an automatic deny. You definitely want to avoid that. So make sure that it's flawless. Again, sometimes they don't ask for a writing sample, but this is showing faculty how well you write. And if you are prepared for graduate level writing, whether that be maybe at the MA or PhD level. I would also encourage you to use specific examples. So if you are someone that is already doing research, you're already working with faculty on different projects, and you want to talk about how you are qualified for that particular program, use those examples of things that you are already doing in your statement of purpose. Another thing that you can do in your statement of purpose is address potential shortcomings. So just from my experience working with different students and applicants, sometimes they have concerns about, their GPA, maybe they didn't do so well in a semester. So I tell them that they have an opportunity to address that if it's a concern in their statement of purpose. I say, probably no more than a paragraph because you don't want to focus on that. But, if you're worried, for example, about your GPA, but, maybe you had family issues or something like that, talk a little bit about it. Say, I acknowledge that maybe this semester my GPA was not ideal, but, this is what I had going on. And you can spin that. You can say, but the following semester I was able to achieve a 4.0 GPA. How were you able to address those shortcomings and pretty much ensure that you were academically successful the following semester, or when you completed your degree? So just know that if you have certain concerns and you want to let faculty know what happened, you can use your statement of purpose for that as well. Use space efficiently. Again, most statements of purpose have a specific page limit, word count. So you don't want to ramble off or talk so much that you don't even cover what is being asked. Make sure that is straight to the point and it's answering the things that it's asking you. And then I cannot express this enough: draft, edit, and repeat. Again, this is something that should be done in the matter of weeks, maybe months, not in a day or two, because you definitely want to make sure that you are writing the best statement of purpose possible. Another thing, you might be applying to different schools and different programs, and some of you may be inclined to, use the same statement of purpose and just, change a few things here or there. Although, that sounds easy, it's not something that I recommend. Really do take the time to write a different statement of purpose if you are applying to different programs. Just because you don't want to submit just a general one. Again, programs receive hundreds of applications. You want to make sure that your statement of purpose is really representing you and talking to faculty why you are an ideal candidate for the program and why you should be admitted into that particular program.
I think Aliana hit on every single step that you need to take. But I think that I really want to go back to the friends and family, and I really want to encourage everybody to find what we like to call a board of advisors. So find the people who are trusted confidants for you. Find those individuals that are going to offer you feedback that is both constructive and it's going to push you towards being a better candidate for graduate school. So I think friends and family can be excellent individuals to serve on your board of advisors. But I think it's also important to go and see who are the faculty advisors, who are the staff advisors that you currently have, who can help you with all of this information. So a personal statement is not an easy thing to write, and it certainly does take time. And making sure that you do go back and you do draft it and you do edit and you do repeat the whole thing back to you. It's what makes your personal statement stand out from the others.
I would like to add, so again, I would depending on the school, depending on the program, make sure that you are connecting with the admissions representative, and ask, the right questions. Myself, for example, here at CGU, I am students' main point of contact. So I am the person who walks them and helps them throughout the application process. Ask the admissions representative, who reads the application, who reads the statement of purpose. Is it faculty? Is it a review committee? Is it the admissions representative? We know what faculty are looking for. Our job is to help students submit a strong application, give them feedback, help them be admitted pretty much. So we know what faculty are looking for. So we can definitely give you some tips and advice. And that's always helpful prior to completing the application. Some other tips for drafting. So get creative. Think about, how do you want to express your passion for your, what it is that you're looking to do. Consider speaking. I would say consider speaking your essay out loud. And this is actually the recommendations of one of my colleagues, that he mentioned that when he was applying to graduate school, he actually recorded himself reading his essay, and to him it was very helpful listening to himself to see if it was flowing, if it sounded like him, if it was working for him. I would also recommend to do a quick write-up and not stopping until you've hit the word page limit, and then going back and revising it, and making sure that it's flowing, it's covering what it should be covering, answering the appropriate questions. It's also helpful to, if you are a person that can't just start writing, start with bullet points, brainstorm, and then expand into complete sentences and ideas, paragraphs, and transitions. Some do's and don'ts here. So definitely you want to start early. And this is because, again, the statement of purpose is something that should take you some time. So you don't want to run into scenario where, the application is coming up, it's being due, and now you are forced to write it in a short period of time, and you're not giving it the appropriate time and attention that it needs. Again, revise. Cannot express this enough. Making sure that it is free of grammatical errors. Again, at the MA and PhD level, faculty are really looking for strong writers. So again, this is showing them how well you write, and if you are truly prepared for a graduate level coursework. Have multiple and different readers. This could be fellow friends. I would encourage you, maybe current faculty, a professor. A lot of schools have, your center for writing, taking it to the writing center, having someone give you some feedback, following the instructions, of course. Show, don't tell. This comes to giving specific examples, and then tailoring your essay to the institution or program. Talking about why that particular school and program is the program for you, why you are an ideal candidate for their program, and how their program is going to help you achieve your personal career and academic goals. Don't start with ever since I was little. And, every student is different, everyone has a different story, and you will decide how you tell your story. But this goes with when I was saying you should be creative, be authentic, but don't be that cliche where you start with ever since I was little. Go beyond the stated word page unlimit. This is something that, again, I wouldn't encourage you to do, because again, faculty get hundreds of applications. So the amount of time that they spend on your application, it might not be that much. So you don't want to give faculty a reason to not even read your whole application just because, your statement of purpose was way too long. When it's too long, you also run into the risk of, rambling on, not really talking about the things that you should be talking about in your statement of purpose. So definitely keep that in mind. Don't wait until the last minute. Again, if you're going to be revising, having multiple readers, that does take time. So you don't want to wait the last minute. Don't use a template. Again, if you're applying to different programs, just write a different personal statement for each of those programs. And don't rely on your grades alone to get you into that particular program. Here at CGU, for example, my faculty review the application holistically. So they're not going just off of GPA or GRE scores. They're taking many different things into consideration. Including, your statement of purpose. And I would say maybe that's even more important than other application materials, just because that is your opportunity to speak directly to faculty, letting them know about yourself. So again, just don't rely on your grades alone. Here, I wanted to share with you some sample prompts. Again, different programs, different schools, that you will see that prompts do vary. But to give an example, some of the prompts of CGU, some of our different programs, here you'll see, this is a typical one. Submit a 1,000 word statement of purpose that details your academic and professional achievements, your specific areas of interest within your desired field of study. Why are you a strong candidate for graduate studies at CGU, and what are your career goals? Number 2 is actually the prompt for my specific programs. But here are the 6 questions that we ask students to answer. Who are you? So again, what is your life story? Did anything significant happen where you're saying, I want to pursue a master's, I want to pursue a PhD program? What are your particular research interests? What faculty from our school are conducting research in your area of interest? Why are you pursuing this graduate degree? So what do you plan to do with the master's or PhD program? That's something that faculty definitely want to know. What are your professional and academic background? Why CGU and why the School of Educational Studies? Again, this is just an example of our prompts, but it gives you an idea of what they typically ask for. I usually tell my students, don't do, question number 1 paragraph, question number 2 paragraph. These questions are meant to serve you as a guideline as to what faculty are looking for. I usually tell them, faculty should be able to answer these questions after reading your statement of purpose. So make it your own, but you should definitely make sure that you are following directions. I also included here some sample responses from some of the personal statements that my applicants have submitted. I couldn't include everything because it would be way too much and way too long. But here's an example where I believe a student did a great job in terms of answering the question relating to what is your personal academic and professional background. So here the student talked about her background being in mechanical engineering, how they received a degree from UC Berkeley. But here she was able to tie her background and her experiences in the STEM field into why she decided to pursue the PhD program. Again, this is a little long, but it's just to serve you as an example of what I thought was a good statement of purpose. Again, this is another example where the student talked about why CGU is the ideal institution to support their academic goals. They talked about how CGU would provide them the ideal resources as a student to help them be successful. They mentioned faculty and the research that faculty are doing that she was interested in. Here, the student talked about why they would be an asset to the School of Educational Studies, which is, again, it is ideal. You want to talk in your statement of purpose, not only how that particular school or program is going to help you achieve your academic and career goals, but why would they also want to have you in the program? Why would you be an ideal student in that program, in that school? Finally, here the student touched upon what they would be doing with a PhD in education, how they plan to give back. And again, this is just a short example of responses and how you can form them. So now I would like to open it to a Q&A. If any of you have any questions for Paige and I, we would be happy to take those. I will also go ahead and drop in the chat box a link to if you want to receive additional information regarding CGU and our programs, you can submit a request for additional information, and then we will be contacting you. So I will drop that in the chat box. And for those that are interested in receiving more information about CGU, I would also like to invite you to our upcoming fall open house that we are hosting the first week of November. It's going to be a 3-day event. Each day will have different programming, some workshops with some of our resource offices, presentations from faculty talking about the current research that they're doing. So I will go ahead and drop both links into the chat box.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming in and for hosting this wonderful event and teaching our students about how to write personal statements for grad school. Again, just to reiterate, I think that's a wonderful opportunity that Claremont Graduate University is hosting in the first week of November. So thank you so much for sharing with us for that. And just thank you so much for helping our students and supporting them as they thrive and move forward in their journey.
Thank you for having us. Maritza asked a question, any tips or guidance for writing a compelling statement of purpose without basically regurgitating a resume? This is a great question. So Aliana talked on a quick write. She talked on sitting and finding folks that can really speak to you. So I think something interesting also to utilize a statement of purpose for is those folks who will be writing a letter of recommendation for you. So let's just talk about a compelling statement. It's important to say who you are. So your resume tells you your work experience, and it tells those that are reading your resume the work that you've done, the research that you've participated in, the clubs and organizations that you've been a part of, but it doesn't speak to who you are. So I'll use myself for an example. I have done volunteer work with the Trevor Project. I currently sit on a board of advisors at the Pomona Pride Center here near my house. So one might say I'm very interested in LGBTQ plus issues, right? And working towards a more inclusive environment there. But then what I'm able to do in my statement of purpose is talk about why I'm interested in those things and why I want to do those things. So I'll talk about the School of Educational Studies, for example. I had to write a statement of purpose for the MA in education, and I had to sit and talk about why the MA in education is something that I want to pursue and how this is going to push my career forward. How is this going to help with my career aspirations? How is this going to help with the knowledge that I already have? And how is it going to bring me greater knowledge and greater awareness? So I think that a quick write is really important. And a quick write is an interesting session because what you do is you sit there and you can time yourself. You can do 5 minutes, you can do 25 minutes, however long you want to do a quick write. And just everything that comes to your mind, you just put on paper. We do a lot of these exercises within CGU coursework. And what we do is we sit and say, for the next 5 minutes, write every single thing about yourself that you might want somebody to know. And there are certainly things that you wouldn't write in a statement of purpose, but then absolutely and undoubtedly, there are other things that you would write in a statement of purpose. So it's a really great place to start to say, my work experience has been this, my research experience has been this, and I also want the faculty and whomever is reading this application to know I am also these things, and these are the work experiences that I have had, and this is how this program is going to contribute to my overall growth. Great question.
I would like to add, my piece of advice would be, your resume will talk about like, accomplishments, previous jobs, projects, but your personal statement will have that intimate touch. And what I mean by that is, your resume doesn't reflect where your passion comes from. What makes you passionate, what drives you to do this program. And maybe you're looking to help, you're going to do a program because you want to work with youth and you want to help students. Well, the resume is not going to reflect that. So you want to talk about, where does that passion come from? Why do you want to help this particular group of individuals? So definitely talking about your own personal passion and drive is something that will definitely help your statement of purpose.
Can I have folks drop into the chat, when are you considering graduate school? Is graduate school a fall 2021 thing, or is this further down the line? Summer 2021, great. Fall 2021. Spring 2022. Fall 2023, maybe. Okay. So those of you who are looking at 2021 dates, this is the time to get started. This is the time to start your statement of purpose. This is the time to start to find the schools and programs that are going to be the best fit for you. We did in a previous session, like a grad school 101 workshop. And in that workshop, what we do is we talk about how you find your fit. And that's oftentimes where also a statement of purpose comes in, because you have to find your fit in order to write a really strong statement of purpose, so that you're not sitting there and you're not regurgitating your resume. You're not going to sit and you're not going to talk about the grades. Certainly, like Aliana mentioned, if there were hiccups in your undergraduate experience, address those. And there's no problem addressing those. And you can address, here's what happened. For me, for an example, I was a bio major in undergrad, and bio was not my thing. And so I certainly had a hiccup of a semester in my sophomore year. And that was something that I did have to address in my first graduate school application, because it's something that I wanted my faculty readers to be able to know. And so those are the types of things to say. Don't avoid that. Don't avoid talking about it, because the only thing that would happen from there is that the faculty may call you and ask you for an interview now because it wasn't addressed, and they can only make a number of assumptions. And so it's a good thing to address. And folks have blemishes, and that's okay. If you do have a blemish on your academic record, then that's an okay thing. And it's certainly something to address in your statement of purpose. So again, those looking into summer or fall 2021, most applications are going to be due starting December through February, sometime in that time range. As you're looking at different programs, you'll be able to start to see which programs accept in early December and which accept as late as February. CGU, for example, our priority application deadline is February 1st of 2021 to begin in either summer or fall of 2021. Have folks started to consider their statement of purpose yet? Or is this, you're coming to this session today to start to consider your statement of purpose?
For myself, I don't know how to start it.
Okay.
Yeah. For the two schools I'm choosing, they're due February and March. I just haven't got to start it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely still have some time, but as Paige mentioned, you definitely want to start already. So I'd say definitely start brainstorming. As we mentioned before, write bullet points, ideas, things, but you should definitely consider starting that sooner than later. I'm assuming, does your current campus offer any workshops? Does the Writing Center? That would be my other recommendation, maybe visiting the center and see if someone there can help you, get that started, perhaps brainstorming with you and help you, starting your rough draft.
Yeah, one of the schools is Sonoma, so I just haven't had time for myself to actually set it up. But yeah, definitely the quick write's gonna help.
Well, for those that are interested in maybe 2022 or 2023, you are definitely doing your homework way in advance. And that is awesome that you are already thinking about that, preparing yourself ahead of time. That is great. Well, does anybody have any additional questions? If not, thank you so much for joining us today. I did include a link for more information about CGU and our programs if you're interested, and then the link to RSVP for our fall open house event that is coming up the first week of November.
I have a follow-up question because I'm kind of considering a master's program because I'm still kind of figuring stuff out where what kind of graduate work I want to do, but it would be very much cross-disciplinary. I'm a nursing major right now, and I would be interested perhaps in something like master's in public health or a master's in business administration. So I guess my question is just kind of how do you tell a compelling narrative in terms of like why I would be interested in anything that you've seen in successful applicants who kind of do that. Like you were talking about the student who was shifting gears kind of from mechanical engineering to education.
Yes. So, I mean, again, I think that comes with being creative, being authentic, and telling your personal story. Everyone is different, and everyone has a story. So, I say usually good statements of purpose we see come from students where they are really talking about their passion and personal life story. If you are looking to transition, maybe you majored in business and now you're looking to go into science or something like that, talking about why you're looking to do that transition would definitely be helpful.
I also think that it's important to address the fact that maybe you are interested in multiple areas. I think you mentioned you're potentially interested in business administration and public health. And what would be an interesting thing is, let's say you did want to go into public health. You could talk about the leadership components of public health and how that's really going to help you to pursue something more leadership focused and leadership based as you pursue public health. You could also look for dual degree programs that will offer you both degrees. I'm very familiar with our dual degree, but other campuses are going to do our dual degree programs or similar dual degree programs as well, wherein you're able to pursue both degrees. And so how do you maybe go from one area to the next? Maritza, can I ask you, what is your current major?
Yeah, I'm a nursing major, and I'm just really interested in public health, specifically community health. And then I think personally business administration, obviously healthcare is a business. So just kind of those types of programs speak to me in terms of being able to be a part of the leadership and kind of change some of like systematic things that need to be corrected.
Yeah, I think that public health is obviously something that will be, by 2023, public health will be certainly a field that more folks are going into. And it's certainly a field now that we're looking at the public health professionals, right? So I think that, a nursing major being able to shift to potentially business administration, again, I can speak to you all day about the public health programs. I love public health, and it's one of the areas I love most. So I'm happy to talk to you maybe more offline on public health and how you could potentially go into a public health field and how that leadership and management aspect of public health also works for you. There are certainly those aspects of leadership and management in the public health field.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, my recommendation there sounds like you are interested in two different areas. I would say looking for a program that would allow you to focus on different areas, not just one. Most of the times, master's degrees, they have a very strict curriculum where it's like you have to take these core classes. You really can't take anything outside of that. To give you an example, at CGU, we are known for our transdisciplinary approach. So people come to CGU, to our programs, because they like the fact that we actually give students more flexibility, and we encourage them to go outside of their discipline. So a lot of times students come and they say, I'm interested in education and economics, economics of education. So not only are they taking classes from the education department, but also from the econ department, because it ties into, their particular research interests and how they want to combine both disciplines. So that is something that we do a lot here at CGU. So I would recommend definitely looking into our program. You may end up doing a dual degree program, but definitely exploring your opportunities and looking for programs in general that would allow you to look to combine different disciplines pretty much.
Could we get any other questions potentially answered for today?
So it looks like we only have one student actually here, Maritza. So Maritza, if you have any more questions or anything that's going on with you, you're more than welcome to ask. We still have about 9 minutes left of our session.
I don't know if I really have anything else to ask. I'm really just doing some preliminary kind of research and thinking about what kind of graduate study I want to do. And yeah, but I guess like my last question would be really, I joined the presentation late, so I don't know if you guys already shared like your contact info or who I could talk to more extensively. So that would be something.
Yes, definitely. I will go ahead and drop it into the chat box right now.
And then Maritza, you can always, I'm not sure if you're a TRIO or a MAP student, but you can always come in to see a writing specialist if you are. And we specialize in helping with personal statements for graduate school and graduate applications. So that's something that we also do as well if you're interested.
Maritza, thank you so much for joining us. And again, Aliana put our contact info into the chat. So please do feel free truly to contact us at any point.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies, again for hosting this awesome event. I think there was some great information for the students. And I'm really hoping a lot of people show up for the open house that you're hosting.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, and just FYI, I do work in the TRIO office with Rose, who was your #1 contact. So let me know if you ever want to collaborate again, or I look forward to when we do.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. Thank you so much for letting us be here today and present to your students.
Oh, totally. All right. Well, have a great day, ladies, and we will talk soon.
Thank you, Erica. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Well.